Now that you've mastered one-step equations, let's move on to two-step equations. This time it'll take two mathematical steps to get the final answer, and therefore the letter all by itself on one side. I want to emphasize again that we're trying to think about using order of operations backwards. So there's going to be a lot of different steps along the way. We want to use this order to undo things around the letter. In the first one, two different operations have been done to the letter X. It's been multiplied by 3, and they also added 1 to the X. So we need to undo both of those operations using their inverse operations. Thinking about order of operations backwards, I'm going to take care of the plus 1 first, since addition and subtraction would come before multiplication. Let's subtract 1 from both sides. Now there's one more thing that's been done. They multiplied x by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and divide x by 3. X would equal 6 divided by 3, or 2. This is a similar problem. Two different operations have been done. They multiplied by 5, and they also subtracted 6. I need to do the minus 6 first. That needs to be removed because order of operations says to do addition subtraction first when going in reverse. They subtracted 6, so I'll do the opposite of adding 6. That leaves me with 5x is equal to 20. As a last step, I want to undo the multiplication by 5. I'll do that by dividing by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. In this next example, just like the other ones, there's two different things that have been done to the letter A. We have a number 4 out here, and it's being multiplied by a negative 3. It's not quite clear what's happening with the number 4, but I'm going to assume it's addition, just because there's no negative sign in front of the 4. So in order to undo that addition by 4, I'll subtract 4 on both sides. The negative will stay with the 3a, and we'll get negative 3a equals 18. To finish this, I want to divide by negative 3, since they've multiplied. Therefore, a is equal to 18 divided by negative 3, or negative 6. Here's another problem where the letter is on the right-hand side. It shouldn't make any difference. The only thing that will look different is the letter will be on the right whenever you get it by itself. I'll start by undoing this plus 4. I'll have 15 on the left and 2n on the right. To undo the times 2, I'm going to divide by 2. Now 15 is not evenly divisible by 2, so instead I'll just leave it as a fraction. N is equal to 15 divided by 2. For the next part, go ahead and try some of these equations. You need to practice a little bit going through the procedure. I'll show you the answers, so stop the video and come back in a little bit. Check your answers to see if you did them correctly. Next, we're going to move on to some word problems. And all of these word problems, both of the ones we'll look at today, you could probably guess the answer and get it right. What we want to do, though, is get into good habits of setting up equations so that when the problems get more complex, like they will in a few weeks, then you have good sound habits and you know how to write an equation. So don't guess, actually write an equation. They said a certain number added to 17 yields a sum of 29. We're supposed to figure out what that number is. One of the most important things we need to do in math is actually make a variable for things we don't know. So I'm going to call that x. Let's let x equal that number that we don't know. Now let's look for some key words. Here's the word of sum. Sum is what you get when you add two numbers together. When we add this number and 17 together, it said the answer is supposed to be 29. So here's my equation. This is a one-step problem to solve. I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides to get an answer of 12. So the number must be 12. In the next one, it says 6 years ago, Bill was 13 years old. How old is he now? We don't know how old he is now, so that's going to be our x. Six years ago would indicate subtraction. So I'm going to take x minus 6, and they told us that was 13. There's the equation. Now I'll finish it by solving. Add 6 to both sides, and x equals 19. Bill must be 19 years old.